Hello and welcome to Spotlight on Jackson County. We've got a show, folks, that's really near and dear to my heart. And if you know anything about me, you would know why. I want to welcome to the show Mr. Wayne Lennep. He is the Vice President and he's the Public Information Officer for the Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight. Wayne, I want to tell you thank you, because I know that had to be a tremendous amount of work that y'all all did to get this thing happening, and to take those guys to Washington. Hats off to you. I can't give you enough admiration for
we don't deserve
all the work
admiration.
that you've done.
Those
yeah,
guys,
well,
you know that. Those guys.
Yeah, you do. You do. They do too. But that was a tremendous amount of work.
A lot of work, a lot of hard work. But I've said before, it's work that you love. It definitely well worth it to see them enjoy it the way they did. That's what we want to do. Want to do it again.
Yes. Yeah, and your first flight, your inaugural flight, was the 11th of May.
May 11th, yeah.
And anybody that watched TV or saw anything about it knows how well it went. You had 3,000 people.
Big turnout.
At the airport. Like I told you before we got started on the show, I've been at the airport a lot of times, never seen 3,000 people there. So that was probably a first for that airport. But that was a good first for them to be there. Yeah. That really was.
Good turnout.
You got another flight coming up on the 21st of September.
That's right.
But what I'd like to do is, I want to tell the people how this all got started. And you were the driving force, basically. You're the one that it happened. You made it happen, in a way.
It's definitely a team effort. I can't say I made it happen. It just so happened there were people.
You accidentally made it happen.
I guess I sort of accidentally made it happen. I needed a speaker for a men's Veterans Appreciation Dinner last November. A friend of mine at work suggested that I contact, first he asked me had I ever heard of Honor Flight. And I had, and I'd heard about Mobile's operation a little bit. And he said, though, well, he knew the director of Honor Flight South Alabama over there, Dr. Barry Booth, and he offered to put me in contact with him. And I called Dr. Booth, asked him to come speak at my Veterans Appreciation Dinner for the Jackson County Methodist men. And last November at Dantzler Methodist Church in Moss Point, we had a big countywide Veterans Appreciation Dinner, and it really went well. Dr. Booth came. He brought along with him some of his team, one of which was Kimberly Foster Moody, who is our president of Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight. So Kimberly had went with Honor Flight South Alabama as a guardian. She wanted to bring Honor Flight to Mississippi. I didn't know Kimberly. I met Dr. Booth, and we had the Veterans Dinner there at the church, and I got to know more about Honor Flight. I wanted to bring it to Mississippi. Dr. Booth challenged us to start one in Mississippi. Jody Bowers also was there, who you interviewed along with Kim earlier in the year, and Ashley Comstock, who's our fundraising director. Just a handful of us that were there that night got together, decided to have a meeting, and on December 7th in Goshen, appropriate date, Honor Flight, Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight was born on December 7th in Goshen. At our first meeting, had about 15 people there, and we started from there, started planning. Met again a couple weeks after that, and started making assignments and taking on responsibilities, and it took off. Well, it didn't just take off. Good
word. I like that one. Honor Flight took off.
Honor Flight took off. Yeah, there's a lot of work went into it, but like I said, it's work we love. We started having regular meetings, updating each other on where we were, making assignments. Kim and Jody and the others started gathering information. They contacted the Honor Flight Network, which is the national organization that we're connected to. They gave us much needed guidance, and they're a great group of people. Honor Flight South Alabama served as our mentor. Pete Ream from their group, their operations director, went with us on our flight. Well, he joined with us, and then he ended up going on our flight with us, because that's one thing Honor Flight Network does, is they require you to have a mentor from a previous from another honor flight group, and they showed us how to do it, and we basically mimicked the Alabama program, but now we have our own Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight, have a flight under our belt. We've learned so much. Like I said, hard work, but we're looking forward to September 21st for that second flight.
Now, this was the first for the state of Mississippi,
Yeah.
not just the coast. And you had veterans that came from not only the coast but from other parts of Mississippi.
We called them the Brookhaven Five. We had a group of
The
characters.
Brookhaven Five.
We had some characters from Brookhaven. They were a great bunch of guys. They came down and joined us. We had 25 from Hattiesburg. We had one that came all the way from Tupelo. And then, of course, the bulk of them are from the coast. They're from the 3 coastal counties. Of course, that's where we are. That's where we concentrate our efforts. But we are open to veterans statewide because our goal is to get the World War II veterans to the memorial. And if they can get to us, they can go with us. But naturally, most of them are going to be from the 3 coastal counties because this is where we are. And, we're more easily accessible to those down here. And we know them, they're family members, church members, friends of friends. We were able to get a plane load up together pretty quickly.
How did it make you feel when all of this finally came together and wheels left the ground going to Washington? Welcome back to Spotlight on Jackson County. Today's show we're talking about Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight, something that's honoring our World War II veterans and bringing them to the monument that is so long in getting here. And I am honored and privileged to have Mr. Wayne Lennep. He is the Public Information Officer for Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight. Wayne, I want to thank you for being here again. We were talking about the flight. We were talking about Washington. We were talking about how much the guys enjoyed it. But let's talk just for a minute about, before we get into some other things, about how it was to see 3,000 people in that airport welcoming these guys with cheers.
Yeah.
How was that?
Great for me. I can't imagine what it was like for those veterans coming home to see that. We called it the welcome home they never got. Because unless you were in ticker tape parade in New York City or somewhere, you basically came home, went back to work, and you didn't get this welcome home. That's what I think our admin director, Jody, coined the phrase, the welcome home they never got, and let's give it to them. But when I came through the door, to see that many people, to see it, my thought was obviously jubilation, but it was like, these people, they really care. The people of Mississippi, they get it. It wasn't, as you would expect, a few family members to welcome their loved one home. It was all walks of life there. There were kids and adults, young and old, prominent, government leaders, average citizens. And they would just it really told me they really appreciate these people. They mean it. They love them. And I like that. That meant a lot to me, to see the real earnest response from the people.
Well, I've seen the video. I didn't see a veteran who did not have a big smile on his face
Yeah.
and who was not enjoying all of that attention and the thank yous. I didn't hear the thank yous, but I could see the people's mouths saying thank you. And that means so much to a veteran for somebody to walk up and say thank you.
Yeah, and to see it demonstrated like that.
Yes.
Because I don't think the veterans, they knew there was going to be a welcome home. I don't think they had a clue there was going to be anything like that. I think they were just so overwhelmed with that response that it meant a lot to them. And there again, to see it mean a lot to the veterans makes it mean even more to us to have been able to provide that for them.
Okay, but this is not over, folks. This is not over. It's going to continue, and it's got to continue, because there's so many veterans that we have to get to Washington, and it's with the people's response that y'all were able to do the first flight. But they got another one coming up soon, folks. September the 21st to be exact.
That's right.
And they need your help.
Yes, we want to, great job, great event, that first flight, but that's not the end of it. That's just the beginning. And we've got a lot of good momentum. Donations are coming in still, and we just want to ask the people to stay with us, continue to support us. If you haven't supported us yet, get on board with us. because we want to keep this going. There was about 3,500 World War II veterans across the 3 coastal counties. Last numbers I saw were at the end of 2009, but there were about 3,500. Obviously, that many can't go on a flight like this, but and the thing is, nationwide, we're losing 1,000 a day. And that's the sad part of this, that this program has an end. But we want to make as many flights as we can, and we've set a goal to do 2 flights a year for 3 years. So we don't just want to fund this flight. We want to fund this flight and then, have money for the next flight, which we hope to do next spring, if not sooner. One of our people jokingly, I think, suggested that maybe we could just do another one this fall, but we don't know. We want to. That comes out of the urgency that the group feels, because, we had 3 guys on our first flight that were signed up to go and passed away.
Right.
Sadly, and it breaks your heart. It does, and I know Kimberly, our president. It really means a lot to her to be able to get these folks, get these guys together, get them on a plane as quick as we can, and it means a lot to all of us, but we can't do it if the money's not there. You hate to talk about money, but it takes it. This is expensive. It takes about $80,000 a flight, maybe a little under. I think 80 will be our top end estimate. We came in a little under 80, but yet the reason we were able to come in a little under 80 on the first flight is that we had things like medical equipment donated from Grace Healthcare, and we had Vision Tours donated our buses locally. So that was an expense that we didn't have to pay out. We don't always know what the future is going to hold, or what expenses are going to be, what fuel prices are going to be. We were able to, thanks to US Air, lock in the same price for the second flight on the airplane as the first flight, which just the airplane is $60,500 just for the airplane. That's before anything else. So we just ask the folks to continue to support us, to continue to show the generosity that you're known for, because they responded. Folks of South Mississippi have responded. We want to reach out to Harrison County, Hancock County, Stone County, Forest County, George County, all over the southern part of Mississippi as best we can. And of course, you've helped us so much here at WKFK just to get the word out, and we can't say thank you enough for that, because we can't talk to everybody. You can talk to a lot more, through those cameras. We can reach a lot more people, and the other media outlets have also helped us as well. Mississippi Press, they ran a profile on every veteran for us, and they've continued to help us put the word out. Sun Herald has done some good reports over in Harrison County for us, and just WLOX, as y'all did, went along on the flight with us. But we appreciate the local support, and you guys here at WKFK have just been great to us. Can't thank you enough for that.
Well, we appreciate the accolade, but when you think about, I personally know what it's like to have a loved one serving overseas, because my son's done it twice now. The only difference, I think, now is that you have the opportunity. You don't always get the opportunity, but you have more opportunity, should I say, to communicate with them. Mm-hmm. And their tours are a year or a little longer. I know that my father-in-law, God rest his soul, he just passed away, served over 2 years overseas, and never got to communicate with his family other than a letter. Mm-hmm. And when you think about the sacrifices these people have made, and me in particular, having heard the stories that these men can tell of the tremendous sacrifice and dedication, and they say, I was only doing my job. Mm-hmm. I was only doing what I went to do. But you can't thank them enough. And this is just one way, folks, you can help. These people need your assistance. Anything you can afford on your heart, large, small, whatever you can afford, Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight needs your help for this flight and the one that's going to be after, because we don't have a lot of time to make this happen. These guys deserve this, but they're not going to be here forever.
That's right. People can obviously donate through the mail at P.O. Box 1912, Goche 39553, or any Hancock bank. You can go straight to the bank and go to the teller, tell them you want to donate to the Honor Flight account, the Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight. Specify that. They'll look it up, take a donation for you there. You know, the Honor Flight Network folks tell us that in another 5 to 7 years, it'll all be over. And we just hope we can do what little bit we can. This is a small token of our appreciation for what these folks have done for our country. I mean, as great as it is, as you know, as much as we've enjoyed it and we are enjoying it, and as much as these veterans appreciate it, we know it's a small thing. It's a small thing to write a check to donate to a cause like this. It's a small thing for me to take a day out of my life and go to Washington, or to take these few months out of my life to donate to volunteer for a cause like this. Small thing when I think about what they did. A very small thing. So, you know, we like to say, you know, help us rewrite this final chapter of their lives, because they deserve nothing less. The greatest generation deserves nothing less.
I'll tell you one thing, from the smiles, from the expressions on the faces of those men, when I saw that video of them coming home, I know that they, as long as they live, will never forget that day.
You should read the letters we've gotten from them since then. You know, we still a month later we're getting letters. You see letters to the paper. You see we get letters in the mail thanking us for what it meant to them to be able to do it. And that's just nothing. There's no bigger reward than that, you know, because that's why we do it.
But hats off to the dedicated members of Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight, Wayne included, who have taken it upon themselves and devoted so much of their time away from their families and so much of themselves. You can tell Wayne has really put himself into this to make this happen. Wayne, we only got about a minute left. So before we go, one more time, let's tell people how they can help Mississippi Gulf Coast Honor Flight.
You can go to any Hancock bank and make a donation of any size. Nothing's too small, and obviously nothing's too large, but any Hancock Bank branch will take your donation. You can mail a donation to P.O. Box 1912, Goshen, Mississippi 39553. We also have a website, but we don't take donations to the website, but there's plenty of information at mgchonorflight.org. And we're not soliciting donations over the phone. So the two ways you donate is through Hancock Bank or through the mail in our P.O. Box. But,
yeah, folks, remember that there was a scam lately, and they're not soliciting donations over the phone. So somebody calls you